Aaron Rodgers to Steelers? PFT calls it a safe bet. Bombshell update on his next move. The NFL offseason is always filled with surprises, but few rumors have sent shockwaves through the football world quite like the possibility of Aaron Rodgers joining the Pittsburgh Steelers. As speculation continues to swirl about the four-time MVP's next move, Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio has ignited the conversation even further by calling Pittsburgh a safe bet to land Rodgers. Could this truly happen? Would Rodgers don the black and gold, instantly transforming the Steelers into a Super Bowl contender? Or is this all just off-season chatter? As the NFL quarterback carousel continues to spin, Rodgers' name remains one of the most intriguing. After an underwhelming tenure with the New York Jets that lasted just one injury-ridden season, the future Hall of Famer finds himself at a crossroads. With the Jets officially moving on, Rodgers has a decision to make, one that could shake up the league and redefine his legacy. The Steelers, a team long known for their stability, find themselves in an interesting position. Their quarterback room has been in flux over the past few seasons, cycling through the likes of Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and Mitch Trubisky. They recently signed former Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, but the move hasn't stopped speculation that the team is looking for an even bigger upgrade under center. Could Rodgers be the answer? Reports have surfaced that Rodgers recently met with Steelers officials in a lengthy, private conversation. The 6-hour meeting, described by insiders as productive and intriguing, reportedly covered everything from Pittsburgh's offensive plans to Rodgers' leadership role within the team. While no official deal has been struck, the fact that both sides engaged in such extensive discussions suggests that this is more than just a passing rumor. Rodgers has made it clear in recent years that he values stability in an organization, and few franchises embody consistency, quite like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since 1969, the team has had only 3 head coaches: Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. For a quarterback who spent nearly 2 decades in Green Bay, playing under a relatively stable coaching structure, the idea of joining a team with that kind of organizational longevity could be highly appealing. Another major factor in Rodgers' decision-making process will be the Steelers' roster. Unlike the struggling Jets, who were plagued by offensive line issues and inconsistency in their supporting cast, Pittsburgh boasts a solid foundation. The team's defense, led by T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Cameron Hayward, is one of the best in the league, which would take significant pressure off Rodgers. On the offensive side, weapons like George Pickens, Najee Harris, and Pat Freiermuth could give Rodgers the tools he needs to succeed. Of course, one of the biggest obstacles to a potential deal is the financial aspect. Rodgers' contract situation is complicated, and any team looking to acquire him would need to make substantial financial moves to fit him under the salary cap. The Steelers, known for their careful approach to contracts, would need to decide whether making an aggressive push for Rodgers is worth the investment. However, with a championship window potentially opening, they might be willing to take the risk. Despite all the speculation, not everyone is convinced that Rodgers will land in Pittsburgh. Just a few weeks ago, reports suggested that the Steelers had no interest in making a move for him. However, Florio's latest remarks indicate that the team's stance may have shifted. Whether this change is due to internal evaluations, Rodgers' availability, or new developments in negotiations remains unclear. For Rodgers, choosing the Steelers would be about more than just football. It would be about legacy. He has already solidified himself as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but another Super Bowl ring could elevate him into even more elite company. Pittsburgh's fan base is among the most passionate in the league, and leading the Steelers to championship glory would only further cement his status as an all-time great. But Pittsburgh isn't the only team in the mix. Other franchises, including the New York Giants and even the San Francisco 49ers, have reportedly expressed interest in Rodgers. A return to the NFC could be appealing, especially given the stacked competition in the AFC with quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. However, if Rodgers wants to take on the challenge of competing in a loaded conference, the Steelers offer one of the best landing spots. There's also the question of whether Rodgers is still capable of performing at an MVP level. While he has dismissed any talk of retirement, He is coming off a major Achilles injury, and at 41 years old, his durability is a legitimate concern. If he joins the Steelers, he will have to prove that he can still operate at an elite level, despite the physical toll of nearly 2 decades in the NFL. For Steelers fans, the thought of Rodgers under center is both thrilling and nerve-wracking. On one hand, he represents a massive upgrade, bringing veteran leadership, experience, and championship pedigree. On the other, his age, contract situation, and outspoken personality could present challenges. Pittsburgh has always prided itself on being a no-nonsense organization, and the potential clash between Rodgers' independent mindset and the Steelers' team-first philosophy is something to consider. One thing is certain, Rodgers' decision will be one of the defining moments of this NFL offseason. If he chooses Pittsburgh, it could dramatically alter the AFC landscape, giving the Steelers a legitimate shot at competing with the likes of Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati. If he goes elsewhere or decides to retire, Pittsburgh will have to quickly pivot and determine whether Wilson is truly the answer moving forward. Florio's statement that the Steelers are a safe bet to land Rodgers has only fueled the speculation, but until a final decision is made, nothing is guaranteed. The NFL is a league of constant surprises, and quarterback movements often come down to the wire. No matter where Rodgers lands, his next move will have major implications, not just for the Steelers, but for the entire NFL. As fans, analysts, and insiders eagerly await his decision, the anticipation continues to build. If Rodgers does end up in Pittsburgh, it won't just be a headline. It will be one of the biggest stories of the year, changing the trajectory of the franchise and potentially shaping the 2025 season in ways we can only begin to imagine.